Hey guys, it is I Archie from Archie's Orchids, and once again I have found the orchids. This time we are not in Kuchenhof, we are in Leiden Botanic Gardens, one of the most prestigious and well-known botanical gardens in the world, and they have one of the largest collections of Asian orchids. Now, I had a complaint in my last video that I wasn't showing the plants, and I was just showing my face and my piercings, and to that I say, unsubscribe, because it's my channel, I shall do what I wish. But yeah, I will film the plants today because this is such an important place. So this is sort of one of the greenhouses you come into with orchids. There's a few orchid greenhouses that are closed to the public for reasons I think people were stealing plants, unfortunately. It's just a horrible thing to do, and if I find any of my subscribers stealing plants from anywhere, I will personally come and find you and mutilate your parents. And that was really graphic. So there's just loads of, this is predominantly coelogenes and coelogeny types in here. So that's that one, I can never say these, Diplocalobium, which used to be coelogeny and was reclassified into that. And then there's some Draculas over here. So there's just there's not much in flower this time because it's early on in the spring season. But this is Dendrobium latifolium. So people call it Magnum, but it's not Magnum because Magnum's very rare and it looks different. But yeah, that's Dendrobium latifolium, subspecies Macranthum. I think this is Oncidium spaculatum, something like that, which is nice. This weird obscure thing, which I do not know what it is. But there's just so many lovely things. And there's their Pleurothaliid collection just hanging up there, which I find strange because that's closer to the light, which means the light's going to be brighter. And if you know anything about orchids, you know Pleurothalids predominantly, not all, but most of them don't like high temperatures, high light and high temperatures, of course. But this is a Masdevallia bicolor, or bicolor, however you want to say it. It won't focus because it's backlit and you're getting a silhouette on that one. But here's some bulbophyllums for you, and for me. It's what excites me, as we know. So this is Bulbophyllum levaniae, or Nymphopolitanum, sort of the same species, just different sizes and slightly different morphology. But it smells like dog poo, but that one's not fully open yet, so we don't get the delectable scent of that one. So there's just a few amazing tames that are growing here. This is another one of their orchid houses. They're quite extensive, I do have to be honest. So there's just loads of really awesome species. I think this is Pupiflorum, yeah. Section racemosiae. As you can see, it has a raceme, which is why it's called Section racemosiae. And then there's some big vanillas here. And then there's also some really nice bulbophyllums, so I think that one's Lepidum in there. These are behind netting because I think they had issues with theft, but there's another, I think Lepidum. Might be wrong, I don't really know. And then there's sort of, what's that, Encyclotamponensis? And there's just a lot of really awesome species growing here. So obviously one of the common ones, Falcatum, a South African species. It's just really lovely place, lovely atmosphere, lovely humidity and temperature, which is what I enjoy. It's just Bob from Gravelins. People say it smells really bad, but I think it just smells peppery and sort of just neutral. There's a small Bulbophyllum Phalaenopsis here. And there's a larger one there. I'm a bit confused to why these are up, because they're very sought after orchids and they're very expensive orchids. And if people were going to steal anything, if they know about orchids, they'd steal those. That's nice. So Epidendrum stanfordianum, which is always a nice species to have, quite a common one, but a nice one. Then we've got a few of the pendulous, deciduous Dendrobium, so you've got a phyllum there and an osmum. And then there's just some nice Sinorchises here. I'm not even filming what am I doing. So that's a Sinorchis cucuata, which is a South African species of terrestrial orchid. And Sinorchis are known as sort of the weed orchid because once you have one, they just crop up in your pots everywhere, and they're really annoying. So these are their I'm not even in focus, but these are their Dendrobiums. I'll move the focus point to the middle hole. They have quite a few Dendrobiums because obviously Dendrobiums are predominantly Asian. and it's Asian in which they grew. This is some species of area, which I just find amazing. It's probably not going to focus. Is it going to focus? No, but areas are really quirky. And there's another area there, but it's gone over now. So yeah, this is really the bulk of it. There are a few other places where you're not allowed to go into, which is unfortunate, but oh well, nonetheless. And there's just some really nice things there. So that's just a Coelogeny. What other species is it? It's Coelogeny species North African. So it's a North African. I assume Afrikaans is African in Dutch. There's a undescribed species apparently, which is cool. And there's just another bulbifilum here. I don't know what that one is. Sort of similar growth habit to Becaria, but it's not Becaria because we would know if it's Becaria, wouldn't we? And they just have these just really extensive, lovely... Oh, I didn't go in this bit. Okay, we're going down here because I've just seen Grammatophyllum, and I didn't know that was there. So, there's more orchids in here. Brilliant. So this is Grammatophyllum. Can't remember the species, but it's the big one. I think speciosum. There you go. I think. So Grammatophyllum speciosum. These get huge. Q have one, which weighs 3 tons. There's a lovely stagthorn fern up there, very large. Then you've got things just like these Coelogenies. So that's like, I think that's tomentosa, Coelogeny tomentosa. It's going over a little bit, so I can't really see. But they just have these big Coelogenies. And this one I think is Varicosiae, or varicose, well, it's certainly section Varicosiae because of the flatter pseudobulbs. Oh look, what we have. I think it's a guava papaya, but it's a bit round for a papaya, so it might be a guava. They have loads of masdevallias up there, which is awesome. So this is the largest glass house with all their big species. So we walk through here. It's rather beautiful. Again, it's lovely and warm, and it's just a really nice place to be. I'll try and keep the footage as smooth as possible, but I can't make any promises. So there's a really giant love. Usually in England, these only get sort of 2 feet high, and they die in the winter because obviously they're annuals in our native climate. But that's just huge. There's a few sorry-looking pleurothalids here, which why they're here, I don't know. But pleurothalids should be called not in the tropical bit, which is probably why they're dead. They also have a massive collection of Nepenthes as well, and the history of the gardens is quite incredible. Permission was first asked for the garden in 1587. Permission was granted in 1590, and then one of the botanists, can't remember his name, came in 1593 and started construction on the gardens. When the gardens were first built, they were only 35 by 40 metres. And then one of the predecessors was Linnaeus, which obviously, as we know, invented the binomial naming system. And there was a guy that came, I can't remember names, but he came over, lived in Japan. They have the aquariums here. He lived in Japan, and he had a collection of Japanese dried and live plants, and he was kicked out of Japan. He was like, get out of my country. And he donated his collection to to Leiden. So currently, to this day, Leiden Botanic Gardens isn't a massive garden. It's not the biggest one in the world. But the amount of stuff that's here and their collections, which are very important to science, is just makes up for that. It's just amazing. We've only got 2 hours here anyway before we got a coach back to England. So yeah.